February 24, 1996, the United States did not scramble any fighter jets in time to protect the civilian Cessnas operated by Brothers to the Rescue, despite having advance warning, real-time radar tracking, and clear evidence that Cuban MiG fighter jets were intercepting unarmed American aircraft in international airspace. This fact remains one of the most stunning and haunting failures of the U.S. defense and intelligence response in the post-Cold War era. What we know, U.S. radar, was tracking the situation. The FAA and U.S. Air Force radar systems in Florida were fully aware of the Brothers to the Rescue flights. U.S. radar also detected the Cuban MiG-29s and MiG-23s as they took off, maneuvered, and intercepted the Cessnas. U.S. officials listened in real time to Cuban Air Force radio communications, which included direct orders to destroy the planes and pilots celebrating the kills. Coño, le di. Damn, I got him. Radio transmission from one of the MiG pilots. No U.S. fighters were scrambled in time. No U.S. jets were in the air during the attack, despite the threat being known. The U.S. had multiple capable air bases in the region: Homestead Air Reserve Base, South Florida; Tyndall AFB, Panhandle; Key West, NAS. Yet no intercept was attempted before or during the shootdown. Gums knew an attack was possible. Cuba had warned publicly that it would no longer tolerate Brothers to the Rescue flights. The group had flown similar missions before, including some that briefly entered Cuban airspace, but the planes on February 24th were clearly in international airspace. U.S. intelligence had warned of possible Cuban escalation, and the administration had reportedly discussed how to respond if an attack occurred. Why were no jets scrambled? Theories and explanations. Bureaucratic delay or indecision. Defense officials may have hesitated, unsure of whether the MiGs would actually attack. Political caution. The Clinton administration feared escalation and may have intentionally limited military posture to avoid confrontation. Failure to believe the unthinkable. A peaceful, humanitarian aircraft being blown out of the sky was perhaps underestimated as a real possibility. But the reality is chilling. The U.S. tracked the jets. The U.S. knew the planes were unarmed Americans. The U.S. listened to the attack happen, and we did not respond. Aftermath. What was done and not done. What was done? The U.S. imposed additional sanctions on Cuba. Congress passed the Helms-Burton Act weeks later. The UN condemned the attack. The victims' families sued the Cuban government and won a federal judgment. What was not done? No jets were scrambled before or after to challenge Cuban airspace. No retaliation occurred. No accountability was demanded from the regime that murdered 3 American citizens and 1 U.S. resident in cold blood. Conclusion. No jets were scrambled. No lives were saved. No justice was delivered. The United States, with all its might and intelligence capabilities, watched 4 civilians be murdered in real time and chose not to act. This was not just a failure of air defense, it was a failure of moral resolve. And it remains one of the most disgraceful non-responses in American military history.